Well, hey there, Aletheia Church. Hope you guys are doing well today. Just want to spend a couple minutes recapping my sermon from this past Sunday in Psalm 121, which I entitled Help from the Lord. And one of the things I said during my sermon was that this psalm is a psalm of confidence. The setting of it is set when someone would be making a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And we talked about how that could end up being a dangerous proposition. And so the psalmist starts out the psalm by looking off into the hills and being nervous about the reality of the danger that faced him as he approached Jerusalem. And as he cries out and looks to the hillside, he says, "Where does my help come from?" And then he preaches to himself, or he declares to himself, that his help is from the Lord. And what we see in this psalm is four separate things that God teaches us on how we can see that confidence from the Lord. The first one is that God is actually our helper, and how that's a good thing. That having God's help is like having someone who already knows what's going on, knows how the world operates, and can actually assist us and save us, that it's a good thing for God to be our helper. The second thing we see is that God is our keeper. And we said that that had more along the lines of protecting us as we move through things, that he would be there for us, assisting us. Then we saw that God was actually our protector. And this meant that God protected us from outside danger and evil. And the last thing we see is that God is ever present, and that God is always faithful, and that we can trust that God will be there for us in the end. And so one of the things I mentioned during my sermon on Sunday is that we were going to spend some time in gospel community this week, really wrestling with the heart questions that this psalm brings out. Things that we may ask are, well, if my life is difficult or things don't appear to be getting better, can I really trust that God is my helper, that God really is good? And so one of the things that I mentioned in my sermon is the promises that the psalmist makes towards the end is that God will keep our lives. And we said that word wasn't just our physical lives, but it had to do with our souls, our very being, our very essence, and that for the present all the way through eternity, there is a promise from God that he is our ever-present help in anything that we are walking through, whether it's being a new parent, getting ready to graduate from college, dealing with depression or anxiety, or the loss of a loved one, or even a global pandemic, that God is there waiting for us to cry out to him and trust in him. And so I hope tonight in gospel community that you spend some time talking through the implications of what it is to have God be our help, and that you grow closer with one another and grow closer to Jesus. I love you guys. Have a great week. Go and be the church.